Howdy, folks. Welcome to a new episode of We'll See You in Hell, the podcast that's part of the Fangoria Podcast Network. For more information about this network, including other programs, how to follow our show, or how to find episodes of any show, please visit fangoria.com. And now, on with the show. Pat Walsh.
Hey, guys.
In full deluxe stereo. New format.
New format, in case you missed it. We are kind of keeping it as it was, a free-flowing conversation, but we're not tying it to a film. And each week, the loose theme of the episode will be a sin. We're starting with the big sev, the deadlies. Today's going to be wrath, which we just had to look up. I thought wrath might be murdering someone. Turns out wrath is just anger, which is a sin that everyone has. And I have every second of every day. And I think Joe has it more than I do.
I got it bad, baby.
Yeah.
And that ain't good.
No. It helps me. It fuels my writings, my comedies. I feel like it makes me a more interesting person, perhaps. But it is a sin, you know?
Your comedies? Is that what you just said?
My comedy, my writing.
Oh, I thought you said your comedies like you were like a Greek playwright.
It helps both my comedies and my tragedies. I'm currently wearing a black shirt, and I have the drama and tragedy masks in glitter on it. I teach a class over at the Learning Annex.
I'll tell you, I'm annoyed with you already because I'm looking at your volume versus mine. I mean,
Yeah.
Why are you so much lower than me?
Am I that much lower than you?
And look at the waveforms. Look at mine. It looks like a cardiac arrest is happening.
Should we
on mine.
restart?
No, I'll just adjust it all in post.
Why don't we restart? We don't have anything good here.
No, the people, we don't need to restart. The people afterwards won't know. Just hold the goddamn mic up a little closer.
I'm holding it.
There you go. Maybe I'm just too loud. Look, the people are sitting at home going, what are you talking about? It sounds fine because I'll mix master this at the end.
All right. See,
Doesn't
now I'm
matter.
getting wrathful. I'm getting angry at the whole affair.
I
Joe,
mean,
what angers you? What's angering you right now? I think let's start off big picture. The country is in serious danger. I don't
With
pay
what?
attention to politics. Anything I do politically does not matter and will not change the world in any way. Sorry, that's how I feel.
right.
You're looking at these candidates. I mean, obviously Trump's a goddamn monster.
Right.
Clinton, and this has zero to do with her being a woman. You can think somebody's not going to do a great job, even though they're a woman. She has a way of just, sniping at Sanders and just like this like one-liners thing to him all the time. And, well, you did this. You said this. You did this. I don't want that as my president. Bernie Sanders is better about it, but he's an old kook, and he can't deliver on these promises. There are no good options, and it's going to be one of those three people.
There are no good options.
There are no great options, let's say.
There have never been great options.
I feel like Bill Clinton at his time was a great option. Barack Obama was a very important president for this country to have.
I think it was nice that we had Obama in there.
I'm sorry, I just called him Barack Obama, like I don't know how to speak.
I think it was nice that we had Obama in there. But, I mean, here's the thing. Everybody goes, it's a mark of progress, and it's not really, because all that happens is the people like us that try to think progressively at least say, well, that's good that happened, but we would have thought that anyway. And the people that didn't want that to happen just became more racist and angry about it.
Sure.
So nobody changes.
Which pushes people more towards a Trump type.
Nobody changes. Nothing can get fixed. Nothing will ever change.
I
Don't
just-
vote. It's a waste of time.
It is, and I will still vote.
I won't.
But, this is something I said at the last election, was like, if you don't clap at a concert, you're an asshole. It makes no difference if you clap at a concert, but if you don't do it, you're an asshole, is my opinion. And that's how I feel about voting. It makes no difference. You should do it. People have fought for your right to do it. You should do it.
When? When did they fight for our right? How long do I have to be indebted to that
Probably
for?
fought for my right. I mean, I'm not a historian. I assume
300
they
years
fought,
ago
am I
or something.
right?
Somebody did something. I gotta
Yeah.
still fucking play it. That's
so-
like somebody telling me my great grandfather came over here. I don't fucking know that guy. It's a different
people in
world.
other countries don't have that right.
Well, it
you know?
sucks for them. Man. It's shitty. It's a
Sure.
shit way to live. But
I couldn't agree more. But these people, I'm watching the new season of House of Cards, and obviously Kevin Spacey on that show is, just a complete monster. They got this new guy coming up in the ranks. He's like 40, young, family. He's a good-looking guy. He's got big ideas. And they reveal him to, have some scummy ties as well. My point is, where are these people? Where are the good, 40-year-old men and women with, bright ideas who are excited and can't wait till they turn 40 so they can run for the presidency?
you're talking about a fantasy show.
I am talking about a fantasy show.
You're talking about a baby child TV show.
And that person would, of course, not be as great as you want him to be. Barack Obama was, in a way, that person. But where are they? How are these ghouls the best America has to offer?
Because when you have one, people start to refer to him as they refer to Bernie Sanders, as this guy's a kook and an idealist, and none of this can ever happen. Because deep down, everybody knows change will never happen.
Yeah, that's true. And if Trump is our president, I don't think that changes America in a big way either.
It sadly probably won't. It'll
It's his
change
people.
it. It'll slightly swing the pendulum to the advantage of the maniacs that like that guy for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then
Or four.
or four,
There
but
are
at
enough
worst
people in place. Barack Obama can't get done what he wants to get done. And neither will Trump.
That's what I'm
there
saying.
are enough people in place who are going to be like, no, can't do that.
By the way, there are also plenty of people that are saying they know Trump personally, that this is all just stage antics so
Right.
he can win. He's fully aware of what he's unable to do. It's all just bullshit. It's bullshit.
It really
For
is.
4 to 8 years, if he wins, the people in his camp will have it slightly better, and then it'll change again, and another guy will come in from the other side,
Yeah.
or woman, and then
You'll
it'll
be
just,
able to
it'll be that thing again.
Throw a can of soda at an Asian if you want to. Look, I mean, I think the man's a goddamn nightmare, but
He's an idiot.
I just don't see any one president changing this country, and I think that's what really bums people out. It makes them full of wrath, bringing it right back home.
When you talk to the average political enthusiast,
Yeah,
I find it very similar to talking to a religious enthusiast.
1,000%.
When you really hammer logic at them over and over, they are reduced to the defense of, well, you got to do something.
Yeah.
And that's the religious defense. Well, you got to believe in something. Well, okay, well, then here we are now at the truth or at the heart of the matter. You don't believe in something because you believe in it. You just feel better believing in it. And to me, that's the same thing with politics. You just feel better believing in something.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you have no real way of changing anything.
No. And people get into these impotent rages where because they can't do anything, they get more angry. And my dad, and I think a lot of people my dad's age, get into these holes where they can't stop watching Fox News because they start feeding off the rage that it gives them.
Yes.
And then, my dad, if somebody says George Bush in his presence, you're getting yelled at for 8 hours. It's over. Stop it.
Yeah.
And you look on Twitter, funny people I respect spend their entire day responding to trolls
Yep.
who probably don't even feel the way they're expressing.
Yep.
And they're like, but Trump's Hitler. Trump's Hitler. Trump. Write a joke or get off of Twitter.
This is the
Stop.
thing. This is the thing. It's
You're driving yourself crazy.
I have a bit about this in my act right now about how much I hate social media, and the one thing I hate about it is that it's given us Twitter activists
yeah.
who do nothing more for the fight than tweet what they think.
Right.
And it's a one-sided conversation if they want it to be. It's like the weakest form of activism you could the most non-committal form of
Yeah,
activism.
we've talked about that on here.
And but I have a bit about it, and I basically the crux of the bit is This is why like true social change will never happen again. Like there are no more radicals like we had in the 60s. You don't have Malcolm X staring out the window with a machine gun. You don't have Jimmy Hoffa fist fighting cops. You don't have Martin Luther King marching on cities like Birmingham. You don't have radicals. You have these privileged, pampered, upper class, cushy fucking pussies that have time to just kind of sit around and pontificate and read the New Yorker.
Right.
And have discussions to whatever elaborate ends they want in coffee houses and stuff. Those aren't activists. Those aren't people that are going to get anything done. Nothing will get done. Change is not brought by discussion. It just isn't.
No.
Change is brought by overthrowing horrific people. And that's the only way change has ever been brought. Ever. It's a sad, terrible truth, but it's true. And
if
that's
you're going to tweet #FeelTheBurn and then go to your yoga class, what are you changing? What are you helping? You're wanting people to know that you like Bernie Sanders, so that maybe people who like Bernie Sanders like you. You're not trying to change anyone's mind. Whose mind has been changed by this?
Well, you say, I've made this argument before to people, and they'll go, well, look at the change that social media made in Egypt. There were uprisings. It's like, yeah, there were violent uprisings.
Yeah.
This isn't. These weren't discussed. You can't do anything with this. Like, and no. I'm not saying so go out and be violent, because that. First of all, I'm not suggesting that, and second of all, that's also not an option here, because they could induct martial law here in 2 fucking seconds. So you could never.
Sure.
You could never take to the streets the way people used to. It's all bullshit. This is it. Just fucking, you're in for the ride and you're fucked, and nothing will help you.
Yeah.
So just try to get along with your neighbors and and
even that can hardly be done. I went over. I bought Joe and I a couple beers to enjoy for the podcast at a liquor store, and I pulled into this parking spot. There's a giant dumpster that rolls off its wood block that was keeping it propped up. And this thing swings into my car real hard.
Right.
Just like crashes into it, no one around. I was saying I'm not going to sue the liquor store or something. But I'm like, what the hell? I look at there's this old Asian guy there. And he comes over and looks at it and he keeps shaking his head. And he goes, the problem is there's no accountability.
Yep.
Nobody cares. You go in now. You say to them, hey, my car, it got hit by your dumpster. They're not going to care. The person who messed the dumpster up is not going to care. Then he's getting really angry. He starts going on. He goes,
apparently
the other day somebody
Asian
walks
guy
by.
with a light Scottish accent was...
Well, I was so worried about doing an offensive Asian accent that I opted on the side of Scottish.
Right, yeah.
So he goes, wah! I'll tell you this, Patty. I'm Asian. No, but he went on and on. We had a nice conversation, but he was getting madder and madder, and something had happened to him recently, you could tell. But he just was like, these kids walk by, they knock over my trash can. The trash spills out. They walk off laughing. They don't even know that I saw them. Why would they do this? Why are they doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just a horrible time to be alive.
Yeah.
Everybody is just like, this is the best we can do. And it is, I think.
Yeah, look, man.
It's sad.
I'm heavy on this stuff right now. I'm real heavy on this stuff right now.
What makes you angry on a day-to-day basis? We
all
want big
this
picture. Break it down to a small.
I'll tell you what makes me angriest on a day-to-day basis. The fact that the few fleeting moments of happiness I have each week are found somewhere in a bottle. And then I carry all this guilt about that.
Sure.
I should feel bad because everybody around me is some kind of fucking asshole that runs through Runyon Canyon and eats fucking quinoa 3 times a day. And it's just, I just got nowhere to fit in.
Those people are miserable too.
They're
doing their own stupid thing.
I mean, Christ Almighty, where's the action anymore, man? Nobody takes any risks. Nobody has any fun. It's all fucking stupid.
The outrage that people have, particularly on social media, which we've talked about on here too, about this offends me, that offends me. I think everyone is just so angry, and they don't know where to put it, and they feel like online is a safe space to kind of bitch about things that are definitely not upsetting them, definitely not bothering them.
Sure.
And it really drives me insane. There's bigger shit to worry about.
Well, I'll tell you this too. You know, I was knocking the social media activists earlier, but I'll tell you, part of me does empathize with them or sympathize with them, because I mean that's the other side of it. Is we live in this fucking freak show where if you do try to stand up against somebody on the right, they will fire shots at you, or come back with you with some sort of racial onslaught or something just horrible.
Sure.
If you stand up to people on the left, they'll try to have your job. They'll try to take your money away from you. And I mean, you got bullies on both sides. Nobody feels safe just speaking their mind anymore. So then it gets reduced to these bullshit platforms where nobody gets heard, but then nobody gets hurt. And
yeah,
I mean, Jesus Christ.
I'm a good person. You know? I don't have a hateful bone in my body or a racist bone or a sexist bone or anything like that. And I feel terrified to just calmly speak freely anywhere. Yeah. And I know that I wouldn't be saying anything that would piss people off, but you don't know what will piss people off anymore.
I can't even deal with it.
I don't know what to do. I don't feel... I find myself staying home more because of it. That's very frustrating.
Right. Yeah, it's
the anger of just, this might bleed more into envy, but when you see what is being released to the goddamn movie theater every week, when you see what's coming out on TV every week, when you look for the past 18 Fridays, I've looked at Spotify New Music Friday. By the way, when did they change release date from Tuesday to Friday?
When did that happen?
Like 6 months ago.
Is that happening everywhere?
Yeah. The music now comes out on Friday, not Tuesday. Somebody just decided that.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I like a Tuesday. It breaks up your week. You have something to look forward to. I go to Best Buy on a Tuesday when I was a kid.
Yeah. I don't need all the fun stuff happening on Friday.
This is not because I am old. Believe me. I log in there every week, and I'm like, there's 40 albums here that I would rather fillet my dick than listen to.
Yeah, everything is homogenized now to a point where, I mean, you really have to dig to find the good stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and the good stuff's out there. Let's give a little shout out to a band called The Shrine that I was introduced to this week.
See, now I think you tweeted about them, and I looked to their Twitter page, and they had 300 followers.
It's not a lot of followers.
Yeah.
But they're constantly touring Europe, doing huge festivals over there and stuff.
Okay.
Which made me happy that they didn't have a lot of followers. I was like, here's some guys doing it, and fuck all the bullshit. They're doing it still. They don't need 150,000 Twitter followers. They're doing it.
Right.
But I mean, I found them because I went into Old Vacation Records on Sunset Boulevard. Stop in there if you ever have the time. That's not a plug. They don't sponsor us, but I'm just a fan of the store. And I said, I love Fu Manchu. I love Deep Purple.
Yeah.
I'm looking for some good old stoner rock. What can you suggest? They said you might like these guys. I bought the album, brought it home. I fucking love it. And
that's great.
but that you're not going to find that on the front page of iTunes or Spotify. I mean, you're just not.
Well, I mean, Spotify goes pretty deep, and I go all the way to the bottom, and I don't see anything. Fu Manchu, for example, I just bought some of their old vinyl records. I saw them, and they were amazing on a tour, but they were playing one of their best albums in its entirety, one of those deals.
Yeah.
And I love when that happens. I was listening to the lead singer of Monster Magnet, Dave Windorf.
Yeah.
He was on The Best Show with Tom Sharpling, which is my favorite weekly podcast. Little plug. And he was talking about how he'll say, hey, we've got some really awesome new music. We're really excited about it. Can we book a date at your theater, your small theater in Oregon or whatever? I go, no, but I'm looking here. You're about to hit the 15th anniversary of your big hit album. Maybe if you played that, we could book you. And he's like, if we want to make any money, we just have to keep churning out the same stuff we've already done that we know people
Oh, the
like.
Monster Magnet guy is saying this is a hypothetical example of
No,
how it
he's
works.
saying that's the only way he can make money. Is he's like, I got to go out and tour an album that's not in my heart right now. The album that I love and want to play, no one will book me. Even though Monster Magnet, they're not huge, but they got a fan
They're
base.
a pretty
for
good
Christ's sake.
fan base.
And they're a good band.
Yeah.
It's just a dark time, and then people say, "Well, look at all these Netflix shows," or look at that. Well, the truth is, the people getting these shows have huge followings. Aziz Ansari is not some upshoot,
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that show, The Characters, is cool. That's a cool idea. Giving 10 little comedians, or not little. That's so insulting. 'Cause I love 3 of them. I don't know the other ones. Their own shot. That's a very cool idea.
And what is this?
I meant lesser known, not little. It's called The Characters. It gives each one of these different comedians their shot.
I've never even heard of that. What show's that?
It's called The Characters. I've said it
What's
3
it
times
on?
now. It's on Netflix.
Don't turn it on me. I've never heard of the show.
There is cooler kind of niche stuff happening, but as a rule, it's happening with huge people attached to it, which is no different than anything else. I don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of that vibe of like the 90s when it was like, oh, the underground's taking over, but all the bands that were coming from the underground were still like, you still had to be on Sub Pop or something like that.
That's exactly right.
Or like
And
Geffen, and Sub Pop for an indie back then was as close as you could get to a major for an indie. And I'm a fan of the label. That's not a knock. I'm just saying that was a huge independent label.
Well, and
Epitaph
all those
Records was a huge.
Mudhoney, Melvins, all those bands. None of them fucking got rich. It's the bands that used their sound and took it to a bigger level.
Well, and it was all the bands that went to. There was a Geffen sampler called DGC Rarities Volume 1, and it was
I'm
like,
obsessed with that.
yeah, it was.
I was obsessed with it.
It was like every popular band from that movement.
Yeah.
It was like Nirvana.
Counting Crows were on that
Yeah,
with a great song.
Einstein on the beach.
Yeah.
Jinx, buy me another 24-ounce Pabst.
Yeah, I'm getting off a little bit here on a tangent, and the truth is, shit does get made. Not much gets made without a Duplass endorsement, an Apatow endorsement,
Right.
But those people are helping, people with creative, original visions that might not make it to the screen in a big way.
Sure.
This isn't anything I'm feeling a great deal of wrath about. I'm just mad that every time I go to the movies, I'm like, ugh.
Well, we saw 10 Cloverfield Lane the other night. You were floating after that
I think
movie.
10 Cloverfield Lane, the best movie in about 6 months.
I liked it. I didn't love it as much as you did. I loved Goodman's performance. I loved Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes.
You want to hear
too.
one of the saddest things you'll ever hear? Loved her so much in it. Googled her to see if she was married. Because I thought, what are the chances aren't slim that we might cross paths in this kooky town we live in.
The chances are slim that she would want to spend more time with you.
Right. Well, of course.
Yeah.
She looks like a regular gal, though.
She does. She's
Uh,
been around a while. She was in Scott Pilgrim and shit.
Yeah, but then you look at her red
So
carpet
hot
pictures
in
and
her
you
apartment.
realize she's like the hottest woman ever.
Yeah.
In movies, you're like, oh, that's like a normal pretty girl, and then you look at like the red carpet stuff, and you're like, oh no, she's
Yeah.
ridiculously hot.
For sure.
But she's somebody I'd like to marry in theory.
Okay.
This is just where I'm at these days.
Yeah.
But I liked the movie. I didn't love it, and I told you primarily because, I'm a big fan of anthology horror and sci-fi, and the premise of the guy in the bunker, is he crazy, is he not, is something really happening outside, has been done many times on many classic anthology TV shows. So
Right.
It wasn't my first rodeo with that premise, but they did a good job with it.
I just can't imagine they would have been done that well. I thought it was a very extremely well-directed,
It was great.
well-written, well-shot, tense movie. And honestly, nowadays, even though I think it's way better than a competent movie, if a movie is competent, I'm thrilled.
It was done very, very well.
Yeah.
But there are sort of plot devices that kind of go along with that story.
Right.
So that's where some of the surprise got taken away from me, because I was
Sure.
already thinking, like, they're probably going to do this thing because that's kind of how this goes usually.
Yes.
Whereas you were massively ignorant to this, to the existence of this type of story.
I've seen plenty of Twilight Zones. I know that type of story exists. I thought it was extremely well done.
It was
Every
well
movie
done.
you go to see has been done 1 billion times for the most part.
It was well done. But
I loved it. I thought John Goodman deserves to win Best Actor, and
I
will
thought
not
it was
be
his
nominated.
best acting role ever, which is a hard thing
Yeah.
to say because he's always very good.
Never less than great, and it's like John Goodman not nominated for supporting actor for The Big Lebowski. You know,
I don't know how it's possible.
Jeff Bridges not nominated for The Big Lebowski.
I don't know how it's possible. The
I think
script
John Goodman's
wasn't
one
nominated.
nomination is for Flight, probably the movie he was his worst in.
Flight, where he plays Denzel Washington's drug dealer.
Yeah, but like he went over the top. He was over the top.
He was good in it.
I liked him.
He was nominated for that, though?
Believe so.
It is a very good movie. It's a movie that I think a lot of people would write off and think of, oh, that's a mainstream whatever. But I thought that movie was surprisingly edgy and
I
and
dug
fun.
Flight.
I liked it a lot.
Great nudity at the beginning that I wasn't expecting.
Huh?
Great nudity at the beginning I wasn't expecting.
Well, that shot of him just staring into her cooch as
Yeah.
she bends over was mildly disturbing.
Yeah.
I still...
I'll tell you what took flight was my penis. Right?
I bet that day you had a bone in your body. I love Denzel Washington in a way that I still get upset when he plays anybody sort of skeevy or bad.
Sure.
It still upsets me. I still feel like I'm seeing my dad or my uncle play do something mean.
Sure.
So, but he's great. He's great in it. I preferred. We talked about this the other night, and you scoffed at me, but I preferred The Witch to 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I don't understand why you don't get The Witch, but you don't.
I honestly think that's completely absurd. I thought The Witch was massively dull. It had a nice tone, and it was shot in kind of a cool way as well. Maybe if I watched it again with subtitles, it would help, because I had no idea what anyone was saying. And I didn't care, frankly.
That's a shame.
And the 10th time they did a slow zoom on a rabbit's nose twitching, I said, "Yeah, I'm not scared right now." And my buddy I saw it with hated it more than I did. He said he would have walked out if I wasn't there with him.
I love the movie. I love the movie. I think it's idiotic what you're saying right now.
That's fine.
I think you sound like a stupid asshole.
It had a couple scary moments. It was trying to go for a David Lynch thing. It was nowhere near.
I didn't get David Lynch from it at all. I got
Just that feeling of dread.
William Peter Blatty. I got William Friedkin. I got Kubrick. That's what I got out of that movie.
I mean, that's just crazy.
It was very much like The Shining. The Shining's an extremely slow film. And an hour longer than The Witch, I might add.
I had way more echoes of The Shining in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
You fucking asshole.
Which also reminded me of movies like Misery, Die Hard. I thought it had a lot of homages.
Misery and Die Hard, he says.
Yeah.
Now, please...
Well, she crawls around in the vents. I don't want to spoil too much.
So it reminded you of... that's what it took to remind you of Die Hard.
It's essentially the plot of Misery. A woman wakes up chained to a bed. There were little nods to it throughout.
Nobody's taking issue with the Misery comparison. You said Die Hard,
yeah,
and
she
then you
crawls
also
around an event forever.
and you
I was
also
like, this reminds. I think the director and the writers and the producers and everybody in that J.J. Abrams camp are always trying to create the feeling of those movies from their youth, 80s and 90s movies, 70s probably for them, Spielberg as well, and
Kubrick.
I think this is as good a job as they've done with it.
Hell
Hell of a lot better than Super 8, which you claim to like.
I loved Super 8. They wanted to make a Goonies, and they made a Goonies. They could have called that Goonies too, and I would have been like, "Yeah,
Well,
this is the Goonies."
The Goonies is wildly overrated.
Part. Well, yeah. Look, I like the Goonies,
I like
but
the Goonies.
I just want
calm
to.
down about the Goonies.
I want something on the record, Your Honor. If this could please be marked in the record, highlighted with stars and asterisks next to it, for any time we have a discussion or a difference about movies on this podcast. I want our listeners to remember the time you said 10 Cloverfield Lane reminded me more of The Shining because I got echoes of Misery and Die Hard from it.
No, not because of.
I just want everybody to remember that. That was your argument, that it was more like The Shining, and in the next breath you mentioned Die Hard.
You're telling them what I didn't say. Because of is not what I said. I'm saying it had nods, I think, stylistic nods, that the director might even admit to a lot of those 80s.
You know who else crawls around an event? Harry Crumb.
You're goddamn right.
Did you get Harry Crumb out of Cloverfield Lane?
No, but I did definitely get Die Hard. Anytime anybody goes up in a shaft, I think of Die Hard.
Well, then you think of Harry Crumb.
But I did not think of Harry Crumb.
Well, did you get Burt Wonderstone when the knife was coming through the walls and almost hitting her in the fucking face?
No, I don't remember Burt Wonderstone. It was directed by Don Scardino, who's a great man.
I love Don. He is a great man.
You know Don Scardino?
I do not.
How do you know Don Scardino?
We had a meeting many years ago. He's very nice to me.
Okay, yeah, he's great.
Here's the thing. And this disappointed me slightly. I did read an article on MovieWeb today about 10 Cloverfield Lane and what the original ending was supposed to be.
Probably shouldn't say it. It's too new.
I'm not going to say it.
All right.
But in discussing what the original ending was supposed to be, they were describing the current ending and some other things about the current plot
ending, wasn't great for me.
But the I don't know who the interview was with, the writer or whoever. It wasn't with. I don't think it was with J.J. Abrams. But the guy's just literally going, yeah, so this happens in the movie, which we ripped from Battle Los Angeles. And then this happens, which we took from this. He's just like citing, like, yeah, we just took this from this other movie.
Yeah.
I found that a little disappointing, which, again, back to my original...
Who would rip off Battle Los Angeles?
It says it in the article.
Movies I've ever seen.
It says it in the article.
All right.
But brings me back to my original premise, or point. It was a good movie, but there were many things in it where I was like, I've seen this already, so I'm not that excited about it.
Sure.
Whereas The Witch, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Oh.
Have you?
I've seen it done better a billion times.
Oh, please. What, The Village?
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, fuck you, Pat.
Honestly, yeah.
That's idiotic.
Yeah, I prefer The Village to The Witch.
Okay, everybody, please, Fangoria fans, remember the time Pat Walsh said, I prefer The Village to The Witch.
Strongly.
That's asinine. That's
Sorry.
an asinine thing to say.
If I go to a movie with a completely open mind, expecting to enjoy it, and I'm bored, not scared, don't like it, don't understand a word that's being said, I'm not going to apologize and say I did like it. And my buddy hated it more than I did.
Your buddy, I don't know who your buddy is. Who's
I've
your
talked
buddy?
to numerous people who despised it, and then a couple who really loved it, and that's fine.
Everybody I know liked it because they were able to keep up with it.
No, I understood the plot. I'm saying the way they were speaking, I was like, I don't know what's being said here.
I got used to it. But that's just me.
It's
I
annoying.
adapt to an experience.
I thought the girl was a good actor. I thought there were a few effective moments. But at the end of it, I was like, ugh.
Every actor was unbelievable in it. They had those 6-year-old kids speaking like that old English. It was crazy. It was crazy the shit they were pulling off. The little boy, when he's doing that monologue about Jesus, it was one of the best it's the only movie he's ever been in. It was one of the best acting things I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, we're just coming at it from a different place, Joe.
Oh, Christ. Go watch Die Harder.
You know what you're hearing, folks, is wrath.
Well, you brought it out of me today, babe.
I mean, but see, you still do that. When I was like 20 and earlier, maybe even longer than that, my friends would say, oh, I hated this movie that I loved, and I would wind up screaming.
Right.
Or vice versa. I loved this movie that I hated. You still do it at age 56. You still get this upset. And I respect it. I love the passion. But now, if somebody hates something I love, I'm like, fine, I'll watch it again. You do what you want.
Don't get me wrong. If we were at a cocktail party and you were a lady in a skirt, I wouldn't be yelling like this.
I've seen
but
you
we're
yell
doing
at
a
ladies in skirts
podcast
at cocktail parties, but
we're doing a
I actually
podcast at 4 p.m. No, you absolutely have not seen that. We're doing a podcast at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with two beyond tall boys. I don't know what you call the 24-ounce cans.
Well, it is 6:30. You haven't set your clock forward yet.
And I refuse to. I'm not playing ball with this daylight savings anymore.
You're just going to be an hour late to everything?
I just don't care.
All right.
No, I'll be on time, but I'm just going to, in my head, I'm going to say I'm on DeRosa Central Time.
All right. For 6 months of the year, you won't be rebelling at all. It'll just be
That's fine.
normal.
And then I'll look at that as they finally adapted to me.
Yeah.
But every time I get an email on the West Coast, they say, how's 3 p.m.? And I'm going to say 3 p.m. PST, 2 p.m. MST, which is
Right.
my standard time. So they know. Because this is what I'm doing from now on.
That's fine.
Because fuck these people.
It is really stupid. I guess it's a farming thing, apparently.
Something like that. I don't know. We did a monologue about it on the Pete Holmes show years ago and got a lot of hate mail on the behalf of farmers.
Well,
And we were joking, obviously.
shouldn't they be in bed at 12:30 in the morning? You got to wake up at 3:30 to harvest the grain.
We thought we were safe. We thought it was like making fun of the Amish. But apparently no.
Now I've heard you speak very angrily about certain movies. You've yelled at me at a restaurant about enjoying Aliens, which I thought was a universally beloved movie by everyone in the world. But you screamed at me as though I had the craziest opinion by enjoying an acknowledged classic.
I never screamed at you about Aliens. I said you said it was superior to the first movie, and that's what I yelled at you about.
Yeah, and then I said I enjoyed Terminator 2, and you were upset about that.
Shit pile, that movie.
Right. Okay. Well,
Watch it again.
Most people don't think that.
Well, most people are idiots. We just talked about that for the first 30 minutes of the podcast.
Most people I know who are not idiots and
Right.
beyond.
Got news for you. I've been to your parties. Folks, go ahead.
Is Juliette Lewis an idiot, Joe? She was.
Who was the famous person at the last one?
Johnny Galecki, man.
Johnny Galecki. Pat has had 2 parties.
Pete Holmes. So I've had both kids from Christmas Vacation at my house.
Yeah, Juliette Lewis came to the first one. This is very true. She came to the first
Yeah.
one. I missed her. I missed the second party where I could have gotten some Johnny Galecki
Could have
action.
gotten that Galex. He's a great guy, actually.
Who do you think is going to show up at the third one? Can I throw some
I
ideas?
hope Beverly D'Angelo, and we keep rounding out those Griswolds.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Richard Karn, possibly.
Or Richard Kind.
Or Richard Kind.
Dickie Kind. Or
I don't
Dick
think-
Dreyfuss.
Yeah. Now, at my birthday party,
Yeah.
Belding showed up.
Oh, now Belding is a big, alleged cokehead alcoholic. And I used to go after tape nights over to this place, Dimples Karaoke, and he would be there
Boy.
aggressively, allegedly, even though I saw it, groping the waitresses. And I'd be like, is he in here every night doing this? And they're like, yeah, it's a real problem, but he tips well. So
It's a dark town we live
he'd
in.
go in the bathroom for 5 minutes, come out like eyes bulging, start grabbing waitresses' asses. Mr. Belding.
Oh, boy.
Dennis Haskins, y'all. And everyone was like, I wonder if he hangs out here across from NBC in the hopes that somebody strolls in, has a few too many, and offers him a Mr. Belding spinoff.
Oh, boy. Well, he showed up at my birthday. Apparently, he walked in, looked around, walked out. But you know who
That's
did
good.
hang out for a little while was ex-Mr. Simpson, Nick...
Lachey?
Yeah, Nick Lachey rolled in for quite some time.
Where was your party?
It was at that bar, remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember. I saw Nick Lachey there.
Tiny man.
Yeah.
I always thought he would be like a big, like, kind of like South Philly type, and he's not. He's like a little guy.
Well, Jessica Simpson went public saying that he had a very small penis and couldn't pleasure her,
She did?
which, yeah, I thought was a little shocking, but
I
yeah.
mean, she just has a giant ass and pussy. we know that that's possible.
Anything's possible.
Well, look, he's a tiny man. Usually tiny men have big hogs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he told me he only had a little button on him because he was so small.
Usually tiny men have big hogs? Is that what
I
you're
think
saying?
that's usually the way, nature kind of does it. That you're a short guy, they give you something to throw around. I'm a tall guy, I have very average penis.
Now, what I was building too, before we get into your smut any deeper, was that something that seems to upset you and a lot of people that never bothers me. I was talking to a woman at work today. She's great. I have no issue with her at all. But she was talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane, and she was like, I loved it so much, and me and my daughter were on the edge of our seat, and I had the best time. And then she's like, but that ending just ruined the whole thing for me. That is not an outlook I've ever had in my life. If a movie keeps me under a spell for 90 minutes and in the last 10 they do something stupid, it never pisses me off. You seem to get pissed off by a bad ending. Endings are hard. I get that you can be let down by it, but I don't forget the 90 minutes that came before I loved.
If it gets away from itself anywhere in the third act, I'm out.
And that's a lot of fucking movies.
I'm out.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I wasn't crazy about the end of 10 Cloverfield Lane. It seemed a little too
I wasn't crazy about it.
convenient.
I agree.
Uh,
That's what I,
when I read
when I tweeted about it, I said Goodman was perfect. The movie was almost perfect.
when I read
ending
the
wasn't
original ending, I was like, oh, this is much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't fully care for the ending. It was.
Did they say the studio said do a different ending? Or who made that decision?
I didn't read that part. I just read what it was originally in the script.
Right.
But I mean, there's a great Twilight Zone with Joe Mantegna. It's from the 80s Twilight Zone, where he builds a bunker. There's a guy, his neighbor's in the bunker with him. Same kind of thing. He's like kind of psychotic. He won't let anybody in. He won't let anybody out.
That doesn't seem like a good role for Joe Mantegna to me.
He's good at it.
All right.
He's good at it.
Did you mean Joe Montana?
No.
Okay.
But I'm glad you resurfaced a joke from Joe Mantegna's SNL monologue in 87. I swear to God, that's a joke they do.
All right, well.
A little kid wants to leave, and the dad goes, I'm sorry, my son thought Joe Mantegna was hosting. And he's like, can I talk to you, kid?
Yeah.
And the dad's like, sure. And he pulls the kid backstage, and he's like, I play a lot of bad men in movies. It's not an act.
Uh-huh.
I suggest you stay and watch the show. It's really
All right,
funny.
That's good.
Anyway, same type of thing, and then the guy, there's even the part where the guy's like, I hear people out there. We got to go. We got to get saved. Joe Mantegna's like, you can't go out there. The guy runs out. Joe Mantegna is like, you're out. Fuck you. You're dead. Whatever. And then in the end, it cuts to the outside world, and it's a tour group in front of a huge dome.
Yeah.
And the tour guide says, this dome was built in memory of the buildings and the people that were here before the bomb hit. The dome itself is containing the remaining nuclear fallout or whatever. So you realize Mantegna, when he heard the people upstairs, it was them building. He could have escaped.
Right.
He doesn't, and now he's sealed into this thing forever. Right. And his meters all say it's dangerous outside because it's all been sealed in.
Gotcha.
To me, that was such like a great twist on the ending.
Yeah.
And it's more of a TV ending than a movie ending, I realize. But
yeah, I have a feeling with this 10 Cloverfield Lane, they were like, we've spent $3 million on this blockbuster movie. Like, that movie cost nothing until the end. Like, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, they probably, I guarantee the studio was like, you can't call this Cloverfield, get people's expectations up for action, and then deliver this like very tense little 3-character chamber piece with no big stars, because it's not an indie movie.
Well, I think the movie still could have ended similarly to the way it ended.
Yeah.
I just thought it could have had a little more depth.
Yeah, no, I agree. The ending, like I said, wasn't my favorite, but what are you going to do?
Well, Pat, what can you do? What else is pissing you off? Because we're going to wrap this up in a few. Because we got to do 2 today, guys. And we know there were some complaints about the length of the last one. You missed these 2-hour marathon fucking talk sessions.
And then somebody today was like, hey, I thought if you guys were only doing it for an hour, at least we could get it once a week or something. It's like, hey, just be happy you're getting it at all, baby.
Listen, I'm very flattered.
Thank you so much for all of your comments. It's very nice. That never makes me mad.
No. But these are going to probably be around 50 minutes today because
Yeah.
we have to do 2 because I'm going on tour for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're trying to bang them out.
Which I should plug, I guess, right?
Yeah, maybe when we're done.
Hey.
Nothing else really pissing you off, Joe?
Well, we talked about how much I hate social media. We talked about how much I hate your opinion on many movies.
I think it was just The Witch.
Talked about how much I hate politics and the people
those
that
are
believe
big
in
ones.
it.
Talked about how the arts seem to be at a real low point.
Talked about the lack of accountability out there. I mean, these are my big ones, you know. This is I mean, I have huge bits about this in my act right now. So.
I mean, speaking of accountability, Joe had a dog walker the other night, and the dog got out.
Lost my dog.
The dog is back now, and we're all very relieved. But like, you can't trust anyone to do a good job with anything.
It was a very traumatic experience, and the reason was he left the front door open and the dog ran out. And I was like, well, what did you do that for? The answer was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's like dealing with... This is the problem these days. It's like, I hate to reference Cosby, given the current climate
Sure.
of things with the man. But he has that thing on Bill Cosby himself where he talks about kids and he's like, they just say, I don't know to everything.
Yeah.
And it's like how infuriating that is. And that's what adults do. And so the hard part is we're living in this time where nobody has to be accountable and everybody can just be like, I'm sorry, I didn't know any better, when you know they did. Yet it's also the time where if you hit somebody, you're more, I mean, the lawsuits are going to fly at you faster than anything. So there's no more like, let's just go duke this out, please, because you really fucked up. And then there's also no more just admitting to stuff. People have found the life loophole where they're able to just go, oh, you can't do anything to me, and I can just say I don't know. And that's it.
And the internet is fostering it. Everybody says glaringly obvious, soothing. Everyone agrees with your opinion things all day. Then you get back all this feedback of people going, I agree with your very obvious, boring opinion that everybody thinks.
Right.
And then you're like, yes, we all agree. Everything's cool. Then when one person attempts to say something different, original, I disagree, whatever else, people can't handle it and almost force them off the internet. Now, granted, if that something is hate speech, that's not good. But people having a different opinion than yours is not fucking hate speech. And it's often regarded that way. You don't feel like me and all of my friends who share my exact same opinions feel about this topic, and therefore you're a monster. We got to all slam this. It's not the case.
And that's my point about the pendulum swinging. When Bush was in office, the big joke was that all of his supporters and everybody that was on his side and everything, the criticism of them and the joke about them was that these fucking people all hang out with each other. They all have the same opinion. They don't want any outside views coming in. If they do, you're a traitor, you're a treasonist,
right.
You're against America. Those people that were all complaining about that are now the people saying, if you don't agree with us, then you're a sexist or you're a racist
right.
or you're this or that. You can't win on either side.
No.
You can't call the assholes assholes. You can't call the dickheads dickheads. You can't talk to anybody about anything anymore. There's no gray area.
No. And then you and I, dear friends, our friendship has withstained many arguments, some small, some minor.
I wouldn't say many. I think there's been one or two.
But I'm saying us arguing about the witch is an argument. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
We have a more contentious friendship than most of my friendships, but that's what I love about it. And now you and I are both horror fans, both movie fans. I went in very excited to see The Witch. I didn't feel the same. You and I butt heads on it. You think I'm an idiot. You yell "fuck you" at me. But I know that that we're fine, and that sort of discourse should be happening a lot more, and it doesn't. If I was talking to people and I'm like, fuck you, 10 Cloverfield Lane was awesome, people get shaken up by it because everyone has become massive pussies.
Oh yeah.
And actually, you telling me, you speaking this passionately about The Witch, we usually agree on a lot of things. It makes me feel to myself, okay, maybe when The Witch comes on cable, I'll check it out again. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should watch it with subtitles. These arguments can lead to maybe changing your opinion, maybe helping you see things in a different way. Doesn't have to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Joe loved The Witch. I didn't like The Witch. Were we still friends? Yes.
And I have frightened a few people with my
opinions.
opinions.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a rough around the edges, I'm old school.
But that's fine. It's what I love.
I was going to say one other thing about the people.
The people.
I don't know anymore.
It's an upsetting time. Now, Wrath in the movie 7 was when he killed John Doe. That's why I made the confusion.
When he kills Kevin Spacey.
John Doe, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It completes the cycle.
So that was just it. Like that they're filing him murdering a man as anger.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I mean it is, and it literally is the truest definition of wrath. It's feel my wrath.
See, that's what I was saying.
That's a chilling ending for a movie, man. And that to be a mainstream blockbuster movie, that's a pretty hardcore ending.
I watch 7 once a year. My thinking is, okay, that was one of the first R-rated movies I saw. I couldn't watch them till late. I was probably 14 or something. And I'm always like, are movies that much worse now? And the answer just simply is yes. It's not because we were kids and movies seemed better.
Right.
And there was shit coming out at that time, too. I think the same week 7 was out, Congo was in theaters with fucking Tim Curry and the Apes.
Right.
But it just seems like a really bad time. And 7, in terms of a screenplay, is such a fascinating and dark and perfect screenplay. And there's a movie where the ending, you're like, holy Lord. A, that was completely unexpected. And B, the absolute perfect ending for this movie. And that sort of thing just doesn't happen anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And as much as I can say Cloverfield Lane's a favorite movie in a few months, I really, really loved it. And I really did. And was scared the whole time. When it ends, I'm kind of like, all right, it ended bad, and I figured it would, and what are you going to do? Because that's what everyone's doing. They're like, what are you going to say? It is what it is.
Well, I can tell you, I found the original ending to be, it's not as
We can
dark
talk about that after.
as 7, but it was a little more along those emotionally satisfactory
Well, The
lines.
Mist had a dark as shit fucking ending.
And
that
you
movie,
know the crazy trivia about that? That is not the end in the story.
Yeah, no, I know.
The story, they just drive into the mist and you don't know what happens.
Yeah.
They were like, let's put an ending on this thing. It's going to stick with people.
I saw some interview with Darabont, and he was like, it was Iraq and Bush, and the world was so dark, I just wanted to dive right into how bad I was feeling at the time, and things have gotten significantly worse.
And
But
that's
the movies
our
don't really reflect it. Yeah.
show, everybody.
There you go.
Follow me, Joe DeRosa Comedy, on Twitter. Follow Pat at the Patrick Walsh on Twitter. I'm coming your way, possibly. I'm embarking on a 3-week tour starting Wednesday, March 16th. This might or may not be out by then. I don't know. But if it is, look, here are the dates. The 18th and 19th, I'll be in Wilmington, North Carolina. I believe the 22nd, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. I think that's a Tuesday. That Thursday, I'm in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The next night, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana. That Saturday night, I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then the following Tuesday through Saturday, I'm at Acme Comedy Club in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So come on out, doing the new hour, ramping up to something special with this one. So come check it out.
I will be performing with the Thunder from Down Under, all-male nude review at the Mirage Hotel and Casino from June 12th to June 19th. The 19th is a very special night because I'm going full dick.
Yeah.
So please come out, show your support. When I take that dick out, I'd love to have a lot of fans showing it the respect it deserves.
Go see it. It is a sight to see. You've been listening to We'll See You in Hell. It's a presentation of the Fangoria Podcast Network, produced by Thomas DeFeo, executive produced by Ken Hanley of Fangoria Entertainment. For press opportunities, advertising inquiries, and information about We'll See You in Hell, contact Ken at Fangoria.com. See you later.
Bye, guys.